Hi everyone. Welcome to the first episode of the fourth season of Just Saying With. And to kick things off for this season, we've got Dean Ravenola, who is, well, the narrative and creative director of Neopets. Thank you for joining us. You're in LA. It's a bit of a late night for you. Maybe a little bit about yourself and what you do at Neopets.
Yeah, sure. So I'm the narrative and creative director there. I've worked in Neopets for a little over 4 years, I think now. It's just kind of flown by. And my role there really is facilitating the narrative, not only in the games that we have, so the storylines in our games, but also the overall brand story and kind of the direction that we're looking to take, not only our characters, our stories, but the overall narrative arc that we want to go on when we kind of start introducing all these new things and breathing some life back into Neopia.
The Neopets has been around for quite a while. I mean, since 1999, that's when we've had so many. I mean, it was one of the biggest things around. But since then, it's changed a couple of hands. And where is Neopets now today in 2024?
It's gone through a lot of changes. It's been over a quarter of a century at this point. We're going to have our 25th anniversary soon, so we're getting to that big milestone there. And in that time, it has passed through a lot of hands. You've had big companies like Nickelodeon and Viacom take over for a little bit, but none of the owners really did all too much with it. After sort of its heyday, it sort of just kind of continued to exist, and there was people who would kind of keep it going, but no one really breathing new life into it. And that is what our new organization is trying to do now. And essentially, what happened was Dominic, our CEO, really saw a lot of potential in Neopets and really wanted to try to bring it back. So his idea was to invest in it, and we've been kind of creating our own sort of company now, World of Neopia, where we can continue to explore all the different avenues of Neopets, and that could be things like mobile games, other partner products. We're really trying to explore every single avenue we can to bring Neopia back into people's lives, even if it's not the classic PC game for everyone. It's definitely an older game and tough for some newer and younger fans to get into, but there's a really loyal base that loves what we're doing there. And we really want to make sure we can appease them and keep them happy and keep bringing them new and exciting things while also making it accessible to new people.
Maybe something a bit more down your alley, or specifically with what you do. How has the narrative changed? So, what does the world of Neopia look like today? Has it changed from back in the 90s?
Definitely. I mean, you've had who knows how many writers going in there and changing lore. So Neopets has quite a bit of substantial background history of all the different lands and like mythos behind the world and characters. So there's a lot built in there, but there's a lot of loose hanging threads that were never explored too. Some writer set up this really cool character arc or this storyline, and it was never really followed through. So what we've been trying to do is really pinpoint which of those fans are really excited about and which of those threads we can continue to pull and bring these new storylines into Neopia. The other thing we're really trying to look at is how we can make Neopia accessible and welcoming to everyone. It's definitely a game that was always bright and colorful and had a lot of excitement, but it also was created, like you mentioned, in the 1990s. And there's definitely some parts of the site that didn't age well. So we've been doing what we can to go around and make changes. We even like rename some entire lands and change item descriptions, things like that. And then we've also been trying to bring some more inclusivity to Neopia too. So we've been releasing new items that give users a chance to customize with a lot of different diverse like hairstyles or even like some different inclusivity items based around handicapped individuals, things like that. So yeah, we've been really enjoying trying to give a lot of new life in Neopia and modernizing and updating it so that way not only the fans who've been here the whole time can enjoy it, but people who've never really seen Neopia before can feel welcome and seen when they try to explore that virtual world.
Yeah, maybe this is a bit of an unfair question. I mean, probably I'll be asking you to like choose between your children. But what's your favorite aspect now? Or maybe your favorite storyline or character arc that you've worked on that you think is really, really interesting? Something that you particularly like a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to talk so much about the plot that's ongoing right now. This is what the big standee behind me is from. This is Nyx. He's the main character of our storyline, and I actually stole her from Comic Con. We had the leftover, and I was going to go in the trash. I was like, please let me try to take it home if I can, and it just barely fit in my friend's car, so made it work. But yeah, no, I am super excited about this storyline that we've been building. It is really been a labor of love and kind of a love letter to Neopia. A lot of fans from even the start picked up on what we were trying to do with bringing back a lot of iconic characters. We had, for instance, the Council of Leaders, this kind of like iconic group of all the leaders of Neopia come together to discuss this new crisis that's happening. And it was a really exciting time because some of these characters you've never seen in the same room before. They've all been ruling their own lands. So it's really exciting to have those dynamics together and get to explore some of these things that Neopian fans may have not expected to see, kind of thing, or maybe they'd have hoped or wished would happen. So it's really cool to start bringing back those characters while we can introduce some new ones like Nick. So we're trying to kind of do that balance as we go. And the storyline we're telling in this plot is really personal to me and my team. We really are trying to focus on some more adult themes in here. And I know, as you asked earlier, like what's changed in terms of narrative. I think that's a big thing too. We recognize that a lot of our fans at this time are really in their 30s at this point, and have been with this game for a while. And I know that that core group does appreciate the stories on Neopets, but has grown a lot and probably wants to see Neopets grow a little bit and develop along with them. So that's kind of what we've been trying to bring. At the same time, we want to make sure that it's still something that younger fans can enjoy, something kind of like Steven Universe, where it's like both adults and kids, Gravity Falls type thing, where like everyone can really enjoy it and connect and resonate with either some of the characters or themes in one way or another.
Practically, you already answered my next question, which was really about, you engaging with the fans. I mean, you've had a couple of years now to build this new world. And you've done your conventions, you've done the cons, you've engaged with the fans, the communities. You have touched quite a bit on that earlier, just before this. But as the fans are older, is that really now what's that main demographic? How is it like, or actually maybe more about how is it like finding that balance between being adult enough yet being able to relate to a younger generation?
It's definitely a challenge, and we've through some of the events we've done, we've definitely learned and already like adapted a little bit based on community feedback. Speaking about fans, that's a big thing that we are all about is really listening to the community. I think that's something that a lot of the previous owners did not do, and they just, like I said, kept Neopets around, but didn't really listen to what the fans were asking for and to their critiques and to their what they liked and what they didn't like. So we've been really trying to hone in on a lot of the fan perception of these things. And I think the Fairy Festival we did last year was a really good testing grounds. We kind of combined a couple different events. We got some good feedback. We got some bad feedback. We definitely understood that there was like some missteps there and things that we could do better around like next time. And I think one of the biggest takeaways for storytelling too is we're really trying to tell stories that everyone can enjoy, but we also don't want to be too heavy handed with it. I think it can be easy to slip into kind of being a little preachy sometimes, or maybe like just delving into themes that people don't want to hear about because this is an escape for people too. Neopia is a fun, bright, colorful place. So when we do handle some more difficult themes, it's really important to make sure that you approach it in a very responsible way and a careful way, and you do it in a way that everyone can still enjoy without really, feeling uncomfortable or anything like that. So that was a big thing we took into account for this plot. We definitely are tackling some heavier themes, so we kind of had a trigger warning at the start of the plot, letting people know about some of these heavier themes that we might be getting into, just because that is something that we did like, have pop up as some feedback on some earlier events.
Neopets has grown also not just in terms of the narrative and the world, but also the platforms. So it's gone from the PC to now mobile and even trading cards, right? The TCG game. How does that run across like the narrative? How do you keep that now in check? How does do they all tie across each other? Are they set by themselves, alone?
Great question. Yeah, so it's a lot of juggling, to be honest, because we do have a lot of multiple properties that are popping up now. We have our Tales of Decardia game, which is typically a little more standalone. It's this like unique island of Neopia that we hadn't seen before, and there's their own rebuilding effort happening on this island. So you're kind of acting as this town planner, helping get everyone back up to speed and getting like everything set up around on the island again. And there's some fun quest lines we're developing for that that go into some more topics that relate back to Neopia. And we've also been trying to bring them in different ways. We had the Altador Cup game, which is kind of like our Olympics in Neopia, and we actually brought them in as a new team there. So that was kind of one of the ways we started already getting that cross-platforming going between the different games we have. And then another good example is our Fairy's Hope title, which was another mobile game we worked on. We're actually doing a revamp on it now, and I believe the new name is Fairy Fragments. I think that's planned to come out soon as well. Really excited about that one because I work directly on the narrative for that original team with one of the writers that is now working on the plot and a lot of the classic events too. So we're really excited to see that revamp happen. And that was a really fun one for us because again, it was a little bit more set in its own sphere away from Neopia. It's about again rebuilding this time in New Fairyland. You're kind of rebuilding your home and finding yourself. It's a fairy who's lost their memories, so she has a little bit of a storyline trying to uncover that. But as you do uncover more of her past, you realize how much of it is linked to actually one of the past plots we had in Neopia. So we do have some threads there that we're hoping to continue, maybe in some later storylines too. And then the main character of that game is actually was just introduced to the plot. We saw them for one of the first times on the site. We had a tie-in event when we first released the game, but now with the plot, they're actually a character that's being featured pretty heavily in some of the recent comics, which has been really cool to see people excited about us having some of those characters hop across the different games a little bit and appear in different places. So those are two good examples right there. I'm really glad you brought up the trading card game as well because I am so excited about that one. Bobby, the game designer from Upper Deck, who worked on that, is phenomenal. He has a lot of love for the brand, and he's also an incredible game designer and created a really fun game there. And I worked very closely with him on a lot of the lore for the cards, specifically like how a lot of the mechanics work. He had great ideas, and he would bring them to me, like, okay, I think this is how like I understand this part of Neopia working and this magic of this character working or this ability of this weapon working. Does that make sense with the mechanics I've set up with this card kind of thing? And we'd have some really fun discussions and just kind of go back and forth a little bit on some of that material there. He's been so far focusing on some of the older plots and some of the characters we have. Like I know we did one for like kind of a starter deck based around the superheroes of Neopia kind of thing. And I know moving forward, we also have a lot more planned. And we've been talking a lot about how we can connect the different releases they have with what we've been doing with our storylines. We have a lot of really fun stuff planned. I can't talk about quite yet, but we do have a lot of stuff we've been trying to, yeah, bridge those gaps. I do think one important thing I want to mention too is we're really not trying to get to those convoluted levels where you have to play every single game to understand all of Neopia. We really want it to be that like you could hop into any of these games and enjoy it. It's a self-contained, fun adventure, and there's a good storyline there already that is exciting and doesn't necessarily have to lead back. But if you are a super fan who plays all of them and loves them all, you will see the little connecting pieces we put in there and the Easter eggs and things like that that kind of show the love and appreciation we have too for the brand.
Yeah, I mean, I think any fan would always, I mean, regardless of the franchise, appreciate Easter eggs, and it's something that we want to look out for. And it's like, that, yeah, I know this, and yeah, I've taken a good, I won't say good look, but I've seen some of the cards, when the about the trading card game, and it looks really interesting. It does. I mean, when you've played TCGs for a while, and when you stay with a particular system over time it gets a bit muddled, it gets a bit complicated. I'm not going to mention any names, but it is what happens. So it does look like I won't say an easy play, but a fun play.
Yeah, I know the team definitely wanted to make it accessible to people who, maybe weren't as familiar with it. I think they also did a really good job of making it a little more balanced for players who are going against much more experienced opponents because they have a very unique dynamic, which is dice rolling, which is something you don't really see that often in trading card games. A very D&D type thing there, and I think it's really cool the way Bobby incorporated that into the attacking and defending, because it does make it a little bit more like nerve wracking when you're rolling those dice. We were playing it after Comic Con in our hotel rooms, like just like to pass the time. And I feel like, yeah, me and Richard, one of our other writers, were kind of going back and forth, like have a great time, like really on the edge of our seat with those rolls. Yeah.
I know it's late for you. Maybe just the last question. What can fans expect from the long-term vision of Neopets, maybe in the next 5 years or 10 years? Where's the franchise going to go?
Yeah, I think we really want to continue expanding. We've seen a lot of growth in a lot of different avenues. Before, when I first came on to Neopets years ago, I think our main revenue driver was really just like the premium that we have for our site. But nowadays, we've really expanded. Our merchandise is doing really well, which is so exciting to see. We sold a lot of Neo hoods at Comic Con. We have a lot of like phone accessories, like the little pop socket type things that you put on your phone. Stickers, a lot of those were like doing really well. It's exciting to see. We recently launched a merch shop too that we have a lot of clothing on, and I know we have a lot of deals with Hot Topic and some other companies that have been releasing some plushes and things like that. So it's been really exciting to explore that avenue as well. It's really cool seeing like some of my my plot characters become plushies, or I even have like a hat from the plot too that I love. Actually, I think I have it right here now that I think about it. So yeah, it's been really cool, like seeing
It's
some of
very
this
cool.
stuff
Yeah.
become merch and selling, and even just at Comic Con, people were like wearing them and walking around, and it was just like kind of a really surreal moment for me after working on this for so long. But yeah, it's been really exciting seeing that different avenue take off. I think beyond the merch, these licensees is another really big pillar of our strategy moving forward. Upper Deck has been a phenomenal partner. I can't say enough wonderful things about them. Another really big win for us has been Andrews McMeel, a publishing company we work with. One of the wonderful editors there, Aaron, brought us this idea for a cookbook, actually, a Neopets cookbook, and it was a great idea. There's a lot of very unique foods in Neopia. I was looking over there to see if I have it. I think it's in my office, but yeah, it's a really wonderful project that they put together, and it did very well. I think it was in like a appetizer top 10 like category on Amazon for a while. It was really cool to see that we actually had a lot of fans excited to see this type of material, and we've been leaning more into that and trying to develop more things like that. So working with the same company, we've been working on graphic novels, which is really exciting. We have one that's going to be coming out soon. I think it's already available for pre-order, and then we have another one that's going to be it's already in the works, and I think it's been progressing really quick. So we have a couple that are coming out. I'm really excited about both of them. We have a New York Times bestselling author, Rebecca Mix, who's incredible and did a fantastic job on those. So I'm really excited for people to get their hands on them. Aaron, the editor I mentioned, just has a lot of love for the brand too, and I think that's what we've really been noticing is working with people who really are excited to work with us, love the brand, care about what we're doing, and really do want to see Neopia make a big comeback. That's been really helping us. So yeah, I think we want to continue expanding too. We've already been like kind of testing the waters with things like TV and maybe feature films and seeing if that's something that could maybe potentially work with us in the long term. I think if we really want to get Neopia in front of a lot of like new eyes, that's the best way to do it because you can get an entire new generation excited about these characters and stories and this world. If you kind of do it the right way and you have some really solid storytelling come out in animated form. So we're really trying to explore all these different avenues we can right now. I think we have a lot of exciting partnerships already in place. I think another one I didn't mention was Fat Mojo. It's someone we just secured for one of our plushie and toy deals. They're a huge toy manufacturer, so that's a really exciting win for us too. And it's been really cool. I think as soon as we had like one or two of these partners, a lot of them started rolling in. Another one I forgot to mention was Monopoly too. We have a Monopoly game in the works. So yeah, we've been really busy. It's almost I'm losing track of all the different projects that we have going on. There's a tabletop role playing game that's in the works right now too. So yeah, we have a lot of different irons in the fires, I guess.
That sounds like, I mean, it really does sound like a lot. Um, where do you find the time? Oh my God. Um, I mean, there's so much. I mean, you've said, what is that? You've got Neopets as it is now, you're looking at animated series, tabletop games. Wow. I mean, it ticks all the boxes. I'm very excited to see where it goes from here. And as a fan of games, tabletop, your D&Ds, your PC games and others, it's always a great pleasure for me to meet the people behind the scenes, the people that actually create the product that make it happen. Dean, thank you very much for joining us. And again, it's late for you, so thanks for taking the time. I can't wait to see what happens in Neopia next.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure meeting you, and thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.